Hello everyone, this is Dan Hussey from ElliotWaveForecast.com. I wanted to bring you guys, and have gotten a few questions about how did I come up with this Aussie dollar trade over the last 24 hours. I was a seller, talked about it on Twitter a little bit from my Twitter feed and on StockTwits from my feed there, about being a seller up into the 75.20 area and how did I find that level. That eventually led to overnight a breakdown into new lows and towards that 74.60, 74.40 area, which we could still see another push down here in the near term into. Well, for starters, coming down off of this high, we ended up having the potential for this market to continue higher. There was obviously a long trend up from this X wave low that took us into this red W wave high. That trend was basically defined by a series of longs that were stair-stepping higher. Eventually that series broke, and upon breaking, presented the market with the potential for a reversal setup. That initial reversal setup didn't quite trade. It was actually front run by a little bit, and this is what we call an ambush short. But that ambush gave us an area to sell into off the prior highs. Nevertheless, it didn't quite trade, but still broke down, went to its targets and through targets, and that eventual breakdown actually led us to where the trade set up overnight, and that we talked about and I tweeted about yesterday in the Aussie dollar that came to be. Now, this is where I want to talk about a little bit of a specialty type of trade, and it's a continuation setup. It's for those situations where the rallies or bounces and retracements back in what is now a short-term downtrend don't make it all the way back into full 50% shorts. In other words, the full 50% decline off this prior high actually comes in all the way up to 75.70 area. Well, that's 50 pips above where the market actually found resistance. And this is what I refer to as a continuation short, or this is where you get those shallower bounces or those retracements that don't quite make it even to 25% lines, right? And because this initial breakdown occurred off of what was the front run of a 50 back, broke down, went to its target and through its target, and we had an extended wave structure. In other words, some kind of wave 3, right? And in this case, we see it as potentially a wave 3 of waves, or wave 3 of wave C. Maybe it's a wave 3 of a 5-wave structure going down. We don't know about that 5-wave structure until it forms, and that's not really what we're concerned with. What we are concerned with is that we had the largest push so far down in this market coming down off of this short-term 76 handle high. So this is where I start looking for a level that most people in the market don't think about, and it's actually, instead of drawing now fibs from highs to lows, this is where we actually draw them from a low to a low. And the initial setup here actually gave a pullback. And this was not a trade I took, but it was one I witnessed. And upon witnessing it, then all of a sudden now the second time the trade occurs and the next in the series in the pattern becomes a really good setup for me. So a bounce up into the 75.30s gave resistance into that 50% line and traded down into targets. Now, once that target was filled, that trade's over with, and this is where now we take it to a same anchor, new low, down into the lows of yesterday, into the 74.70 area. And that's where overnight I got the sell signal into the 75.15, 75.20 area. That bounce, this wave 4 bounce occurred into that resistance zone. It got us free at a plus 15, plus 20 pip first target, which is what the 38.2 line represents here. Stops were above the 75.30 area, well out of reach of this market at that time. And we were looking for a downside target into this negative 23.6 line. So this is just one of those little continuation setups that propped up in the market yesterday. Could we continue lower and still hit that 75.450 target? Absolutely. At some point, we are going to probably see a short-term turn, and this market will very likely trade into, maybe full 50 backs, which is what this black X wave will represent at some point. But for right now, this market is stair-stepping lower in continuation shorts drawn from an anchor at the 75.60, 75.55 area to new lows. So look out for that resistance to continue to play out, create some kind of little cascading wave structure lower. And in the short term, that's what's going to keep this market going lower in this leg down. So I'm Dan Hussey from ElliotWaveForecast.com. Stay tuned for more information regarding our new and up-and-coming educational resources. If you were interested in what I had to say here and potentially learning a little bit more about how to execute using Elliott Wave, measured moves, cycles, structures, and everything else that can go along with a technical learning to become a technical trader, on August 13th, we're holding a seminar, which is kind of a launch pad for an entirely new service and site offering in the educational space. So I'm really excited about it. Hope to see you all there. And with that being said, I'm Dan Hussey from ElliotWaveForecast.com, and I'll be back with you as price action develops. Take care, everyone.